Okay, well, I'll call the Tuesday, May 5th Planning Commission meeting to order. Roll call.
Ahern.
Here.
Bathke.
Here.
Janezer.
Here.
Mickelson.
Here.
Schmierrock.
Here.
Willer.
Here.
And Yachty.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Bathke, I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Moving on, any public comment on any topic not on the agenda? Now is the time. All right, seeing none, I'm going to move forward to item number 4. Preliminary subdivision plat, the request of Quick Trip Inc. for approval of a preliminary subdivision plat at Penn and North Jones. Staff presentation, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This will be familiar to you because we considered the rezoning, or I should say you considered the rezoning at the last meeting. Again, we are at the southwest corner of West Penn and North Jones Boulevard, 3.69 acres. Actually, the LL Pelling parcel is a very much large parcel, so they're subdividing this corner piece off for development of a Quick Star. So this request here is just the subdivision plat, but a lot of the information will be similar because you'll consider the site plan next. Existing zoning is C2 Highway Commercial District. I put a little asterisk up there because it hasn't formally been rezoned, but you're considering it as C2. Anticipated that the preliminary plat, preliminary site plan and rezoning will all be on the same agenda at council at the final reading in toward the end of May. So we'll just consider it as if it's been rezoned to C2. We anticipate it will be, but if it's not, then council won't be able to move forward with the rezoning. The future land use map designation is urban high intensity, UHI, so C2 is consistent with UHI. Pretty straightforward preliminary plat that you see here. Legal description on the left and subdivision on the right. Interestingly, North Jones Boulevard hasn't been formally dedicated in the form of right-of-way to the city. It's just been in easements. I know it looks like it's mapped like that. So during this process, it'll at least this section get formally dedicated. Don't worry, we won't have to shut down the street or anything like that. It's just, it's held in easement, which is kind of typical, like Dubuque Street is like that, through Sunset Prairie. And so when Sunset Prairie gets final platted, it'll actually convey in form of right-of-way to the city. It's just in easements, and that's pretty typical with agricultural type areas. We had a virtual Good Neighbor meeting on March 25th to talk about the rezoning and subdivision plat. No one outside city staff and Casey attended, and there's no objections to the request. We do have 2 findings. The preliminary plat facilitates development consistent with the future land use map, and the preliminary subdivision plat would achieve consistency with approval standards. So staff recommends the Planning Commission accept those 2 listed findings and forward the request to City Council with the recommendation for approval. Just like to recognize Casey and Quick Star organization. They've just been outstanding to work with. This is their 3rd store, so we try and be reasonable, but anytime we reach out to Casey and ask, it's sure, what do you need? They've been a wonderful community partner, so it's always a pleasure to work with somebody that just realizes they're going to be in the community for a long time. So we appreciate you guys and appreciate you, Casey. She's been, and Casey and I actually worked together before both of us were in these current roles. So it was kind of interesting when it's like, wait a minute, I think I know you. And so that's been kind of fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Russ. Applicant presentation.
Thank you, Russ, for the nice comments. It's been great working with the city on this project and previous projects, and appreciate commissioners who are reviewing the subdivision plat this evening. He really gave the overview on this one. I'll get more into the site plan on the next item, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to questions and comments from the commission.
No comment? No question.
Straightforward for everybody? Okay, then I will entertain a motion for recommendation.
I'll move that the Planning Commission accept the 2 listed findings and forward the preliminary subdivision plat to the City Council with a recommendation for approval.
Second.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Janezer,
Aye.
Schmierbach,
Aye.
Becky,
Aye.
and Willer.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 5, the site plan. For
Okay.
same site. Thanks, Russ.
Unsurprisingly, similar location. And just same zoning, same future land use map designation. So just get into the site plan. A little over 11,000 square foot quick star fueling station with attached car wash and related infrastructure. Again, on 3.69 acres. We'll have an access off of Jones that lines up with the Liberty Way across to the east. And also proposing an access off on West Penn. Now, we did talk with them early on that if we did have an access on West Penn due to access restrictions, that they would have to construct a median in that location. They said, okay. So being proposed with the site plan is a median. It's similar to what you would see down on West for Evergreen Road, close to Kansas. When that subdivision was built, they built a road kind of close to Kansas, and a median was constructed there. They currently filled it in with sod, but it allows us to come back at some point in time and install landscaping. I think we're still conceptualizing kind of how we want those 2 corridors for Evergreen Road and West Penn to be. We envision at one point in time to manage access that we will have a series of medians. You see it as we get close to the interstate, I-380, that we'll have more, and then we'll be able to beautify it just like we've done along Rancho Way. So that's kind of one of our thoughts for character building in our community, and it looks pretty amazing. So pretty straightforward. I think the next one is landscaping plan. There is a detention pond to the west there that will outfall. But again, pretty straightforward request. Again, virtual good neighbor meeting was held on that 25th, and we have no objections to the request. We do have one finding that it achieves consistency with approval standards, and staff recommends you accept that finding and forward the request to City Council with a recommendation for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Russ. Presentation?
Right. Just wanted to give a little bit more overview of the site plan here. So we are showing a very similar building to what was built on Forever Green. It's the same size of building, and then the attached car wash with 10 dispensers. This one does not have side diesel, the high flow diesel. This location will not have that, whereas Forever Green does, because it's more of an interstate location. And yes, we have agreed to construct the median at our cost on Penn Street with that, adding that access there. Otherwise, again, I can answer more questions if anybody has any.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to questions and comments from the commission.
Russ, my question was about Liberty Way. Is that actually going to be space for a thoroughfare if something continues to the west of that? Or is this just on their, like, will the road continue, or is it just part of their parking lot?
No,
How are we
but
going to deal with that?
Just be part of their parking lot. Yeah, I think, let's see.
You're not running to Pelling.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
just stop. I think the opportunity to extend, to do further connections, possibly, it's off of this, well, maybe I can get up. Now it's off of this map. I think Cherry Street could possibly continue to the west. And then there's a driveway entrance at the south end of LL Pelling. I think there's an opportunity to possibly, we haven't talked to LL Pelling about this, but so it's a concept.
We're very generous with their property right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was wondering, if
Yeah.
there was any concept on the
yeah,
Liberty
so-
Way one, in case that becomes a frontage road
No, we
back
don't.
there.
We don't. You know, we just think
Okay.
just for it to continue west. Country Lane that you see on the west is a private street, and it just kind of dead ends. We just don't see that connectivity there. Cherry Street, I do see a possibility that it could extend and then dip down, and then ultimately kind of line up with Westlake is kind of what we see as the possibility. And then there's several north-south connector roads that would make sense for that.
Okay.
Russ, I did have a question. Could you explain a little bit more about the need for the median?
Sure. Yeah. We on what we start to do is are trying to limit the location of full accesses off of Penn. I think if you go to some older communities that didn't really have a sense for access management, you see driveway accesses all over the place. And what that has the effect of doing is slowing down the flow of traffic on that street. Just because there's so many cars entering and exiting, so it just
Right.
really slows down. Now, I'm sure my colleagues here will recognize that being a hardcore biker, I really don't have a lot of sympathy for how long it takes people to drive in a car, but I recognize the need for it. And from time to time, I do drive a car. You know, on the local streets is where we want people to slow down and drive slower speeds. Obviously, as you get to these arterial roads like Penn, West Forever Green, Ranchaw, Kansas, Jones, of those, we want those to be in a little bit more of a free flow type design. And you really need to do that through access management. And so limiting a location of this, what we did with the Solomon's Entertainment District to the north is we had a traffic study, and they looked at the distance between Jones and said, you can have another full access over to that west, and you see it there along the west side of the athletic complex. So really just having another full access in between there would have been too close. And so we really just say, okay, you'd be limited to a right in, right out. Some communities do it where you kind of do a diamond where they kind of forces you to go right in, right out. But it just doesn't work. And people sometimes just are kind of jerks when they drive, and they just say ignore it, and they just kind of go around and just end up. And so we've had our metropolitan planning organization recommend that if you're going to do a right in, right out, you just need to design it as a full access, but then there needs to be a median constructed that physically stops people from turning in that direction. So that's why we do it.
Okay, so if I'm just understanding correctly, it's just solely to keep people from only turning to the east out of
but-
Quick Star?
Also, so also westbound traffic trying to turn in and cross traffic too.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you see like where Pacer Way is, a full access made a lot of sense when we weren't that big of a community, and now it's really too close, and you just see that proximity. It's problematic. I think we're gonna have to address it at some point in the future.
Will they need to widen Penn at all, or will it be in the existing layout?
This is when you get to Jones, it widens to that full section. So we have 2 lanes and a median in there. It's the sections east of there that will need to be physically widened. So we have the real estate here to do it. It's really just a long kind of center turning lane. And the median will allow for motorists going westbound to decelerate and turn into the existing LL Pelling entrance. Great question.
I had a question about the trees on the perimeter, and I was just wondering if they're going to be more like ornamental trees, or if they're going to be something more natural like bur oaks, or something bigger that will contribute to a tree canopy in the future when we are all old or gone.
Yeah, I'll defer to you. I don't know that we know the answer at this point. Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not that familiar with what trees we have on here, but that's something that we can look at. And I know as we get further in the design and review,
Oh, there is a
but they
burrow.
can take that into account.
And we do, Josiah's looking at the plan, and we do have a bur oak.
Oaks are.
Is it, okay, thank you for looking
Yeah.
at that.
Cool.
And we do have a decent amount of species diversity. I know some, I think I looked at Aldi the other day, and it's like all the same trees, so it is nice to see a little bit of species diversity.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the canopy over the pumps, is the height of that required by the DOT or somebody? Do you know?
I think it's per city code. Is that right?
I think so. It's, yeah, I don't, it's like a, yeah. I
I don't know if it's DOT or city
Yeah.
requirement, but there is a certain requirement that it has to be.
Okay, because they always seem so high, it's like, you could drive a Mack truck through it, and, it's probably fire access or something.
Yeah, for fire. And then also, I mean, we do still have the lower flow of diesel under the gas canopy. So if there is a truck that needs, a
Yeah.
taller truck that needs to get underneath, needs to allow for that
Okay,
too.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Would also imagine their insurance company has something to say about those
Probably
heights as well.
Probably they're always so high. It's like,
Okay, any other questions or comments from the commission?
No.
If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'm getting used to the new layout.
Let's see if I can find your page number.
I move that the planning commission
Oh,
accept.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, I can't read it anyway. I move that the planning commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the city council with recommendation for approval.
Motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Motion, a second. Get a roll call, Russ?
Janizer,
Aye.
Ahern,
Aye.
Bathke,
Aye.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Willer,
Aye.
Schmierbach.
Aye.
Great. Motion carries. Welcome, thank you.
Thanks, Casey.
Okay, moving on to item 6, preliminary site plan, the request of Eastern Iowa Productions LLC for approval, excuse me, for preliminary site plan on 5.52 acres at Stoner and Herky.
Okay, so yeah, again, you can see the location up there in the industrial, I-380 Industrial Park. As I mentioned kind of last month, we don't see a ton of activity out here, so it's awesome to see an existing business out in this area expanding and being successful. So we certainly appreciate and support that. And I've met with the ownership, and Dan's been great to work with. Again, just kind of meeting with us preliminarily about kind of, laying some things out and getting with John and then submitting. So it's just been a really, really good process. Current zoning is I-1 light industrial. It's the land use out here is commercial industrial flex, which is, so zoning is consistent with land use and kind of gives you you can see the existing areas kind of in gray, the existing drives and buildings, and then the area that's kind of in that pink color would be those building additions. So there'd be an addition to the building and then a new building to the south there. So it's little over 12,000 square foot building addition, and then the new building would be 25,000 square feet. So pretty substantial expansion out there. There is a driveway entrance that was recently installed to the north, so it's kind of in that, generally lining up in that general location. So that works out pretty well. And it's just a nondescript industrial building, so they will have to install masonry on 25% of the facade facing the street. So they're committing in there to do that. We'll look a little bit more at that during building permits. No objections to the request, and we do have one finding that achieves consistency with approval standards, and staff recommends you accept that finding and forward the request to City Council with a recommendation for approval. And I do have one request, and John, after your spiel, you just mind kind of giving up and just giving I think people would be interested in what you do with your business a little bit. Might be a little interesting here. Thanks.
Thanks, Russ. We'll move on to an applicant presentation.
Good evening. Nothing more to add. I'll let Dan cover more of the business, but again, this is a planned expansion, a building addition, and then the second separate building. There's additional parking provided as part of that. I'll also note there's a additional loading dock being provided on the southeast corner of the existing building with an expanded drive there to, again, help with the expanded operations of the business. There'll be a upgrade or a expansion of the detention basin to make sure we're accommodating the new impervious area. And I think the other thing I would mention is that this is a planned two-phase construction. So the first phase would be expansion on the existing building and that new loading dock, and relocating the driveway entrance from the north. And then the second building would be a future expansion. And I'm available for any questions. Otherwise, I'll turn it over and let Dan talk a little bit about his business.
Thanks, John.
Good evening. Ryan, thank you for the kind words. So EMS is, put in simple terms, a janitorial house, more or less, or what we like to call maybe a miniature eco lab. So we actually blend a lot of our own products in North Liberty. So we're also a manufacturer. And we have a facility in Des Moines and one up in Waterloo. And I've owned the business for about 15 years. I think we've been in North Liberty for 17. And in December, we purchased B4 Brands, which is out of Lisbon, Iowa. It's a sanitizer / hand soap company that the University of Iowa and Iowa City uses their sanitation from. So that's for the second stage. Currently we don't manufacture that stuff. And so I'm hoping the next couple of years that we'll start blending those products here in North Liberty ourselves. So we make, hand soaps and floor cleaners and degreasers and stuff like that. So other than that, I don't know, we have roughly 25 employees. I didn't know I was going to have to talk tonight, so thank you, Ryan. I would have bought my Cliff Notes and I spent 2 weeks practicing talking. It's not one of my things that I do very well, but
That's cool.
love North Liberty. It's been great to deal with. We deal with the fire department on different occasions for products and a lot of the things that we do, and it's great access. We pretty much cover 3/4 of the state and halfway into Illinois. So,
Do you anticipate hiring employees with the expansion?
So when I had my first conversation with Ryan, sometimes as we go, we've already hired probably 4 people as we gear up to running out of room and need to expand. So yes, when we take the manufacturing of the hand sanitizer, hand soap business out of Missouri, that's a FDA type of plant. So we're anticipating 5 to 6 more employees on just that. And then EMS is, I would say probably, when we first started, we were at like 6 employees, and like I said, we're at 25. So we're really looking for, even with this expansion, probably adding a couple more individuals.
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the commission has more questions. We'll give you all. Really
All right,
appreciate
sounds
the
good.
information.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
So, sorry to put you on the spot there. And,
that's all right.
yeah. And I know from economic development standpoint, I think a lot of communities look for that bright, shiny landing a new business coming to town, and certainly there's a lot of effort put into that. But when you from an economic development standpoint, existing businesses expanding really is the bread and butter of economic development. So, well, it's always nice to have it. We'd love to have those new things. It's really supporting existing businesses and hoping you create an environment for them to expand is really what we see a big impact to our communities on. So.
And I hear John Marner can sing like an angel.
You put that on next month's agenda.
Yeah. Be under other business. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Public comments? Seeing none, hearing none, I will move on to additional questions or comments from the commission.
No questions?
Yeah, I'm just happy to see it being successful and growing out there.
100%. Yeah, and love an business owner especially expanding their footprint as opposed to relocating. I'd love to
Exactly.
see that kind of thing, especially here in North Liberty. So, so if we have no other questions or comments, I will open the floor to a recommendation.
I move that the Planning Commission accept the listed finding and forward the preliminary site plan to the City Council with recommendation for approval.
Thank you for the motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
All righty, we got a motion and a second. Russ, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Schmierbach,
Aye.
Mickelson,
Aye.
Janezer,
Aye.
Bapke,
Aye.
Willer,
Aye.
and Ahern.
Aye. Thank you. Moving on to item 7, 2024 International Fire Code Ordinance.
I may defer to the city
You got
attorney
something on
this.
your presentation, though?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
Oh, my
I mean,
goodness.
yeah.
Oh,
You guys are in for such a treat. Okay, so a little background for you. So City of North Liberty, like most every community around here, adopts standardized model versions of the building code and fire code, right? And they come out with new versions every 3 years, 2015, 2018. We're in the process of updating our building and fire codes, and I noticed that our fire code has in it a reference to storage of flammable materials, and the default version of the International Fire Code says you can't have flammable materials stored outside of this kind of variety within so many feet of another building of this variety. That's the default version. For some time, we have had a version of the fire code that says you can only have those storage of flammable materials in the I-1 and I-2 zoning districts. And so because we are invoking the zoning code, even though it's in the fire code, you guys need to sign off on that. If we're having any sort of use regulation by zoning district, even though it's per the fire code. So we're coming here to, I'm trying to just get your imprimatur, your sign off on the changes to our zoning code, or the fire code. So the amendment that we have is to, because we have a lot of potential infill, allowing allowing storage of flammable material, and I thought I might have had the fire marshal here to talk about it, but I don't. In, say, a residential district that's nowhere near another building, but that might prevent future development that would be residential from coming in. So we don't want to have existing storage of flammable material that technically satisfies the fire code stymie infill. It's not a problem for where we already have industrial zoning where the buildings are far enough apart by code and zoning regulations anyway. So just because this particular code amendment contemplates the restriction of the use of property based on the district, then we're seeking approval from you guys in advance of the formal approval of the ordinance by the council. And so I'm sorry, I thought we had a version of it to show. I don't have it in front of me. And so, I didn't know I was going to have a presentation for you here.
Surprising all kinds of people today.
I know that. Do you have the one that you sent back to me? Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically references, reference to the I-1 and I-2 zoning classifications. So these are, so basically what we do in whole is adopt the fire code, and then we create an ordinance which allows us to create exceptions to that fire code.
All right.
There are references to the I-1, I-2 district. And after Grant and I talked, just because there was a reference to zoning, felt that this commission should have an opinion on that. So what we're doing is just asking the commission to recommend approval of those exceptions. And we really just highlighted what the exceptions were. We didn't provide the whole exceptions.
Right.
There's several of
Was it in our packet at all, though? I couldn't
So
find any text.
It wasn't, and I.
Oh,
That's what I'm concerned about. I don't see it in the packet. I don't have it in your
I
presentation.
only caught that at like 5 o'clock tonight when I was
okay.
printing
Yeah, I didn't see
because I
it
saw it
either.
in the agenda, but I looked at the packet before I looked at the
Yeah.
agenda.
So without it in your packet, folks,
Yeah,
I
we
think
should-
we probably just need to table it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything that I
Oh,
can.
sorry about that.
That was the reason for the quizzical looks.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I didn't see it in my packet here, and I thought it might.
I remember doing it. It just, for some reason, didn't.
Okay, so
My apologies.
psych.
Well, thank you for the heads up for next
Look forward
month.
to a thrilling
Very exciting.
agenda item next month.
So I'm going to ask for a motion to table this, right? That's the appropriate.
I don't even think you
maneuver?
need to. If it's not in the packet, I don't think it's. I don't
Okay.
think you can even consider it.
Okay, well, it's in the agenda, so
Oh, it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
You know, let's do. Please have a motion
Okay.
to table.
prior to that, may I just request that, I assume this doesn't affect anybody that's operating right now, or if it is, that there's some sort of,
This is going to legitimize what we've been doing for
Okay.
maybe 15 years.
okay, all right,
I don't think anyone has thought to ask the Planning and Zoning Commission before.
yeah, understood, okay.
So
I'll motion to table item number 7, the 2024 International Fire Code Ordinance discussion and presentations.
I'll second.
Can we voice vote this, or do we? need a roll
yes.
call? Okay.
Oh God.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Tabled.
Perfect.
Okay. Approval of the previous minutes. Agenda item 8. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the last meeting's minutes.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great.
Who was that second?
You know what, I'm sorry, I wasn't even looking
that's
around, so I
okay.
just waited for as soon as I heard it.
Yep.
All right,
Good.
moving on to planning updates, in addition to fire code ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll add that one to the list. We just have one site plan. This was supposed to be on the agenda this evening. We talked about it last month, but we just had a few kind of details to work out. Cherry Street condo is going to be something that's just looks exactly nothing new. It's just east of the community center, but it's just one lot that they're going to divide into two, so that's pretty straightforward. And then Michelson Third is preliminary plat, which is we've seen the rezoning on it, but this will actually kind of lay out the subdivision. Kind of we've seen it in concept form, but so that'll come forward for formal consideration next month.
Okay, great. All right, number 9 accomplished. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Do we vote on this, or do I just adjourn?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
No.
No.
Oh, you do vote, okay.
Yes.
Yes, all right.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're adjourned.